Hello, I'm Grant from Maker's Vlog, and how to get into making for free. Now, whenever I say making, I'm talking about the maker culture. So the electronics, woodworking, metallurgy, the sort of combination of just making things. Sort of, from what I've noticed, is closely linked to IoT devices, but that's probably more due to Arduinos and Raspberry Pis and the likes. But more importantly, how do you get into it for free? Because you always see these videos out there that say, top 10 tools that you need to get into making, or, get into making for under 100 beer tokens and all that crap. And the videos are always the same. They're always like, oh, I really love this fucking tool here. It's really good. You can pick it up for, 100 quid, but, if you don't have the budget up for a cheaper one, and then, get a hacksaw that you find down the back of the sofa. That's where I found mine. Check yours, might be there. And then for everything else that you need, just find your buddy who has a 3D printer and use his, because that's what I did. It's all bollocks. So, you don't need half that shit. And to me, it's detrimental to the community because it puts people off. They look at this list and plethora of tools, and the way that the people come across in the videos, they're like, yeah, you can do it for under 100 quid, and you can get these cheap tools and stuff, but stuff you'll make will be shit because you won't be able to do it right. It's load of shit. And it puts people off because they're like, no, I don't have the money to buy these tools, so I can't do it. And that's not the case. This is a hobby that's not, it's not limited by budget. You can spend a hell of a lot of money on it if you want, but you don't have to. And you don't need to spend anything, really, to get into it. All you need is your own two hands and your mind. That's it. Now I know what you're thinking, no, but how do I cut wood? Fucking, you find a way, improvise. You could, it might not be the prettiest, but you could prop up a board against a piece of wood and stomp on it. That would do the job. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's a bit of a stretch, and it is. But as far as tools go, get the cheap ones. Go for hand tools. They're like 2 beer tokens each for a saw, and you're sorted. And yet these people say, oh no, you want to get a jigsaw because you can do this, that, and the other. No, I got this about 3 years ago. This is the only handsaw I have, and I reach for it more than I do for any of the electrical saws I have. And it was about 1 beer token, if even. Dirt cheap, dirt nasty. It's blunt as hell by now, but I still use it. You do not need to get expensive shit, not even slightly. All of the stuff I get, because, well, only in the last 2 years have I actually had a bit of money that I can set aside and get more expensive tools. For the most part before that, it's all cheap, and most of my tools are really cheap and inexpensive. And you don't need to go and get them straight away. Like, you don't need to go and get, okay, I need to get these X number of tools before I can build anything. If you do it that way, you'll psych yourself out because you'll see this massive list of tools and money that you need to fork out before you even start building anything. You don't need to do that. Find a project. Find something that you want to do, and then get the tools that you need to do it. And skimp. If you have the money to spare, go ahead, buy everything you need, and if you can, buy good quality, but research it first. Look into it and see, because a lot of tools are personal preference. So, good example. This here, which is currently plugged in, is my angle grinder. This is a compact angle grinder. It's a small one. I don't like the bigger ones because I am quite small. And they're just too clunky in my hand to maneuver for the big massive ones. So I prefer the more compact ones. And that's personal preference. And I know that because I've used them in the past and used from experience. And that's something you'll get. So there's not much point in going out and buying a whole ream of tools that you think you might need, only to find that actually you don't like that particular one. And so then you never use it. So always get what you think you'll need for the project, and skimp, like really think, do I actually need this if you're on a tight budget? Because odds are you'd be able to get away without it. I mean, a soldering iron, really, you can get away without one for if you're like joining wires and bits and pieces like that, because you can use these wee things here. Not well, you can see them. They are wee connector strips. You just put the wires in, tighten it down, and that's it, you've got a connection. Don't need a soldering iron. And those are about 2 beer tokens each for, what's that? That's a 10 pack of 12. 120. That's 120 connections you can make for a couple of quid. Now at the same time, you might have seen I had an unboxing video where I unboxed a gas soldering iron. Before that I was using a cheap and cheerful one, which is down there somewhere, and it was about 4 beer tokens, and I had it for years and years. I didn't even need to replace it really. It worked perfectly well. I just seen the gas one and this one, the soldering station, were going very cheap, so I got them. So you don't need to spend a whole lot of money to get into this, and any video that tells you do is just bollocks, because all of those things are nice to have. Like, it's nice to have a 3D printer, but you can cobble something together. I've made enclosures for things out of bits of old PVC pipe. I went to, we call it B&Q if you're in America, Lowe's or Homebase, same idea, and got a pack of generic pipe assortment kit for like, I think it was about 5 beer tokens. And I got that to fix a plumbing problem in the house, but I still had the bag and no use for it, so freaking used them for enclosures and made things for antennas for some of the radio stuff I'm doing. So really you're only limited by your improvisational skills. If you can improvise, you can make whatever the hell you want using just a hammer and some sticks. So that's it. That's my thoughts on it. If you liked, please like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and yeah, hope you make something cool.